Do you wish to become more aware of unwanted behaviors but don't know how? Have a habit that you can't seem to change? Perhaps a situation in your life that keeps repeating itself and you keep reacting to it the same way? Do you understand why you act the way you do? We'll give you a hint. It's called automatism or mindlessness. Hello there! Welcome back to our Shine Collective. My name is Liz, and as usual, we are here to support your conscious evolution through our Emotional Well-being series. We are currently navigating through the wonders of mindfulness. So far, we have talked about how the quality of our intentional awareness in the present moment is crucial to regulating our emotional states and therefore influences the reality we experience. But what happens when we are not conscious of where we are placing our attention in the first place? Mindlessness happens, where we become reactive and impulsive. So in this video, we will clarify the role of mindfulness in mindlessness. Mindlessness involves a behavior occurring outside of conscious awareness when we're not cognizant of our own thoughts or behaviors. This repetition or program creates a mental association between the situation we are in, the cue, and the learned action, thought, or behavior. The biggest challenge we tend to experience when reflecting on our lives involves becoming aware of undesirable automatic patterns or habits. Without understanding these patterns, change will still occur, and so too our suffering. Giving mindful attention to our reactions and routine patterns of thinking and behaving is a powerful way to decrease their effect. When we are aware of our thoughts, feelings, motivations, reactions, and responses, we can see them with greater clarity and wisdom. We can pause before reacting and choose the appropriate response for the situation. If we run on autopilot, our behaviors and decision-making often follow habits and routines while the mind is preoccupied with other thoughts. Why does the mind do this? We call them mental strategies we discussed in the first video of this series. Our brains have a limited ability to process the vast amounts of information we are in contact with regularly. So it simplifies our reality by processing only what we need to make the next move or decision. This is why mindlessness is essential for our overall well-being, for a wandering mind is also a creative mind. Yet, with repetition, this way of processing information becomes automatic, a reinforced neural pathway that is gradually programmed, thereby reducing the need for conscious attention. Mindless habits are not limited to behavior. Thought patterns that make up our stories and feelings or coping mechanisms to endure setback or stress can also become habitual. On the one hand, mindlessness conserves limited attentional resources, allowing us to be open to possibilities and do multiple tasks simultaneously. For instance, take driving. Because the process of driving a car can become highly programmed through repetition, most of us can drive while having a conversation with the passenger and at the same time monitor traffic, change gears, adjust the rearview mirror, and plan what we will be doing when we arrive at our destination. On the other hand, reinforced unpleasant thinking patterns also impact our well-being. Unwelcoming feelings, thoughts, or sensations can automatically lead to a reaction like suppression or worry. In these situations, we're not in conscious control of our responses. Instead, they result from an unconscious tendency, a learned pattern between a trigger and a later response. This way of dealing with situations is referred to as impulsivity. Mindlessness leads to impulsivity. These are rapid, unconscious, unplanned, pre-programmed reactions to stimuli that happen before we can even process information correctly. Impulses decrease our sensitivity to unwanted consequences of our behaviors and enables a lack of regard from long-term effects. Acting too quickly without considering the results of our actions is a trait of many cognitive disorders such as overspending, sex addiction, substance abuse, reckless driving, and binge eating. When unconscious and automatic reactions follow an external circumstance, it can be challenging to separate the objective event from the subjective thoughts or emotions inside of us. This is because when our mind is set to autopilot, we increase our exposure to cognitive distortions and rely more often on simplified tactics, such as stereotyping, which is an impulse judgment of a group of people who are different from us based on our own or other people's opinions. opinions. Over time, these instant reactions may cause a lack of perceived control, increasing our levels of anxiety, intolerance, depression, and addiction tendencies. Mindlessness is the opposite of mindfulness. In mindlessness, we distract ourselves from the unpleasant feelings that arise by reactively choosing something less unpleasant. The illusion of gratification this quick fix entails cannot be sustained for long, but if we keep choosing it, we are letting ourselves be programmed to reinforce it as a fast, easy, and only choice, narrowing our ability to break away and considering better alternatives. These automated programs can only be shifted by reprogramming our attention. As already pointed out in previous videos, attention is a central aspect of mindfulness. This intentional focus can be used to recognize automatic reactions and patterns. Say that we experience a feeling, like anger. Mindfulness can act as a container to hold space for us to pause for a moment and sit with that experience through our intentional awareness. By perceiving this feeling and staying connected with it in the moment, we reduce the probability of reacting impulsively. Thus, instead of automatically reacting with aggression, for instance by raising your voice at another person, we focus on our own emotional experience through conscious awareness. In this way, rather than an automatic response, a conscious choice will guide the behavior that follows, which could be talking to someone about it, journal it, or relieve the physical tension with movement, such as punching a bag or screaming into a pillow. This conditioning can also cause us to get stuck in a negative cycle of feeling and thinking. Imagine you receive some poor feedback. An immediate result of this information could entail feelings of sadness, fear, or frustration. We automatically start thinking about its meaning. Our thoughts may concern the feeling, this is no good, I don't want this, it must stop, the situation, how could this ever happen, how could you see me in that light, or the self. Maybe I'm just not good enough. This loop can cause more feelings that can trigger further unwanted thoughts. Remember that the mind's job is to create narratives to make sense of ourselves in the world, so it will reinforce what it's already contained in your mind. Negative feedback may first trigger thoughts like, this can be true, I'm a failure, which then produces unpleasant feelings like embarrassment or frustration, which then trigger new thoughts, and so on and so forth. Regardless of what the situation triggered first, when we're not aware of this automatic interplay between thoughts and emotions, we get caught in the cycle of feeling and thinking for a very long time. And because we are spending so much of our attention caught up in our thoughts, we often lose awareness of what is happening in the rest of our bodies and around us. We get trapped in the game of feelings and thoughts, leading to excessive worrying and rumination as we lose ourselves entirely in the stories being spun. We're not present in the moment anymore. Instead, we live a life played out in our heads. Our thoughts become emotionally charged automatically. Even if we notice this, we tend to use strategies like suppression or fitting things into a particular perspective that fails to get us out of this cycle, and instead, it just pulls us right back in. From a rational point of view, these strategies appear to be effective in helping us move to a different feeling and thinking space. But the more we attempt to avoid or get rid of these feelings, the more they persist. So, what is the solution? By paying attention to the thoughts and feelings that are present in the current moment, we can disrupt the cycle and create room for awareness. This allows us to observe the patterns between thoughts and emotions. For instance, if you receive that poor feedback at work or at school that automatically triggered unpleasant thoughts, take a mental step back instead and notice these thoughts. Pause for a moment and focus on your breathing. Give yourself time to become aware of what is going on inside of you. What is the story that is automatically triggered in my mind? What exactly are those thoughts about? What kind of emotions are present in this moment? Where in my body do I notice these sensations? Take the role of the neutral and curious observer, and the automatic cycle of thinking and feeling is disrupted. If you notice that you're not observing anymore and are being carried away in the story, gently bring your focus back to your breathing and use this neutral point to retake the role of the observer. Note that you're not seeking to change the present emotions or feelings, but rather you are there to observe and accept what you are experiencing it. Turning your attention back to the present moment creates room for insight because your energy is no longer being spent worrying or ruminating. This is how mindfulness can be used to become aware of and disrupt the automatic influence thoughts have on our emotional states and vice versa. Don't hesitate to let us know if you have any questions in the comment section below or if you have any video requests as well. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.